So a while back, I saw this UB40 tribute band. They were called WD-40. They started out a bit rusty, but got much better as the night went on. Hey kids, Adam here. Let's talk about mixing with your ears and not with your eyes. So how many times have you done a move in a mix? Say you do put an EQ or add a compressor, or maybe you do an edit or you add some automation and you play it back and you watch that screen, you watch it like a hawk. And as soon as the thing that you know is going to come up comes up, well, what do? Do your eyes deceive you? Do you really hear what you're doing? I've seen posts all over the place where people will post a picture of their EQ and say, hey, how does my vocal EQ look? I don't know. What does it sound like? Do we watch music with our eyes? No, we listen to music with our ears. So why should we mix with our eyes? I can probably come up with 100 different examples of this. Actually, I probably couldn't. I could probably come up with maybe 3, but that's besides the point. I want to kind of talk about this a little bit and use a story that I ran into with my guitarist on one of our last songs, where he was telling me what he thought his guitar was going to sound like based on what the EQ looked like. So let's jump into Reaper here. I'm going to show you real quick the situation and what happened and what I did to go around this. All right, we are over here in Reaper now, and this is my band Underground Hive's recent song, Everything Will Be All Right. This is a kind of a heavier chorus, and the guitars are your typical like rock distorted guitars. It was dual tracked, panned left and right, and I have some basic EQ and compression pretty much ready to go, and then I added the JS saturator and some reverb on it. So let's listen to those before we start talking about what happened here. They sound amazing. And in the mix, there's what they sound like. I think they sound fantastic. We were in one of our final tweaking sessions, and my guitarist said, hey, I don't know if the guitars sound the way I want them to sound. And I say, well, what do you mean? And he couldn't really describe what he meant. So he said, well, let me send you a picture. So what he sent me was this. Pause here for dramatic effect. So what are we looking at? We're looking at T-Rex, we're looking at an EQ. And he said, I want my guitars to look more like this. And I said, well, what does that even mean? And he said, well, you can see here I have a bump up here, and I just think I think this is going to make my guitars sound better because of the way the EQ looks. Here's what I'm talking about. You can't determine how something's going to sound based on what it looks like. Maybe you can in extreme examples if I were to do, like the big high pass and low pass and big bump for like a telephone vocal. But in a guitar, you're really not going to be able to tell, especially in a mix, if adding a bump based on a picture is going to help. So here's what I did. I made 3 little moves here. I put a high pass filter right around 85 hertz. I put a low pass filter at 6.3K, and then I put this bump here at 3.37. I couldn't get 3.36 because you can't type in values. 3.36, 3.37 are going to sound exactly the same. And I did the same move that he did with the 5.6 dB. So if we play that, to me it sounds thin, but it doesn't really matter because we're not listening to it in the context of the mix. So what I did, I first said, you know what? I don't think you need these high pass and low pass filters. Let's take these out of here. So I bypassed the high pass, bypassed the low pass, and we just have this mid bump here at 3.3. So I played it, and he said, yeah, I think we can flatten the curve because if you look at mine, it looks like the curve is a little flatter. And I said, but okay. Let's do that. So I lowered the gain a bunch. We played it. We went back and forth. And I finally got to the point where I'm like, I know he's not hearing anything here. There's no way he's hearing differences between 1 and 2 decibels. So I moved it down, and I moved it down to like here, and just below 2 decibels. He goes, yeah, I think we can flatten it a little bit more. So I hit the bypass button. I said, how about this? He said, Yes, that's it. That's absolutely it. Hit delete. He said, nope, it's too flat. You need more bump in there. Here's what happened. He saw the EQ curve. He didn't see the fact that it was bypassed. And in re-EQ here, it still leaves the curve, but it doesn't fill it in if it's bypassed. So here's what I've done. I've moved all of my guitar EQ over to the mishaps 1073, if possible. Every once in a while, I need something else for a more kind of carving, EQ carving and filtering, and I'll use something else like the re-EQ or Renaissance EQ or even RIA EQ built into Reaper. But here you can't see what's going on. You don't see this nice curve. Yeah, obviously you can see the dials are moving and everything, but if you're not looking closely and seeing what those numbers are or seeing what it looks like when you're used to on your curve, you can't tell what's going on. So what I want you to do next time you make a EQ compression, a mixing move, take your chair, lean back, close your eyes, hit play, let it go, and listen. Don't look at anything. Keep your eyes closed, and then fumble to stop, and then open your eyes and everything. What I think this will help with is stop relying on your eyes for when you're doing things, especially like EQ moves, reverbs, compression, things like that. Now, there is a caveat here in that a lot of times for compression, I will be aiming for a, say, 3 to 6 dB of gain reduction. I will still use my ears, but that's my starting point. And the only way to do that is obviously to look at the threshold when you bring it down, see where the gain meter is and everything. And in that case, perfectly fine to look at it. But for an exercise, I'm not expecting you guys to, go around and try to mix blind, because it's just not going to work. But I want you to try this as an exercise and see, especially in an area where you're struggling. Let's say you're having a problem getting your vocals to sit in the mix correctly, and it's a consistent, ongoing problem. Next time you try, close your eyes after you do a move. Listen to it. Don't anticipate the move. Listen to what you're trying to accomplish. Don't try to say, well, I need to bump this up more, so I need to watch it as I do it. So if you want to leave me a comment with one of your ideas, that'd be great. Otherwise, hit like, subscribe, hit the little bell thingamajobber, bobber, thingamadoer. And if you want to help, click the link down below to buy me a Coke. Until next time. Hey kids, Adam here, and I'm going to start a new series of videos where I do short, to the point, maybe not to the point. All right, we're over here in Reaper. All right, we're over here in Reaper. All right, we're over here in Reaper, and we are over here in Reaper.